Hey, it's Jeremy from C-Fox. We're hanging out at 606 Studios in California. We're going to go meet the Foo Fighters. All right, good. Hey guys, my name's Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy.
Thank you for having me to talk to you guys about the new record and stuff. What was the first song that you ever wrote, you know, either together as a band or that you wrote that you were like, this is a Foo Fighters song?
That's probably off of the third record. Well, the second record, we rehearsed a bunch of stuff.
I think it was My Hero, if you ask me.
Oh God, yeah, it was back then.
We were doing that on the first tour.
Yeah, we wrote My Hero long before we recorded the second record. We just needed more songs.
Yeah.
We were playing shows, we only had 12 songs.
So those were the first songs you would feel like, okay, those were where we're feeling like the Foo Fighters right now. You know, when we go to shows, you know, when fans go to shows, we watch you guys play. We put so much into watching the show, seeing you guys, and we ascribe a lot of meaning to it. What makes a fun Foo Fighters show for you guys?
I think that it's like the environment of the audience is kind of different. It doesn't, you can get stuck in that routine of doing like hockey arena after hockey arena after hockey arena. But it all comes down to the audience, to me, because, and it also depends on the mood that we're in before we get up on stage. But they don't always seem just like another show. They change a lot.
When you want, it's the better shows are when different things happen, like when we just played in Portugal.
Yeah.
That was Portugal, right, with the soccer chants?
Oh, yeah.
Which song?
Yeah, so in Europe, it's not so much a thing in North America, but the crowds, if they're really fired up, will start going into these
they can go
spontaneous, huge soccer chants. But there were they did 7 of them.
They had so
one
many
would stop,
chants.
and then another one would erupt somewhere else, and those are the good shows.
Were any of them Foo Fighters specific chants?
I think they were sports chants.
It was in Portuguese, so it's just
So you guys, you're on the stage, you remember. I mean, it's a remarkable moment.
But it really comes down to the crowd. Like when we played Glastonbury recently, we got there and I wanted to see what the crowd looked like before Katy Perry went on, and just to see how many people were there. And the fucking audience was gigantic, but also the energy was nuts. And I look out and I just think oh, we're gonna fucking smoke this place. This is gonna be amazing.
This is gonna be good.
You could feel it before you even go on.
That's one of those shows that I'll always remember.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of expectation to do a good show.
Or the time that, remember the guy that came up and sang Tom Sawyer on the last Canadian tour?
Yeah.
Where we were gonna play it, but no, I can't sing Geddy Lee's parts. Who can't? Geddy Lee. Yeah. And so I look out, I'm like, who knows? I don't even know the words really. I'm like, who knows the words? And there was this one guy with his hand up pointing to his best friend that was just some dude in a rock t-shirt with a beer. And I was like, get your ass up here. Dude, it was great. Fucking triumphant. Or the time my leg surgeon got up and sang a White Stripes song with us at Fenway in Boston. He stole the fucking show.
Yep.
I'm like,
fucker.
So good. Yeah. So the album's called Concrete and Gold. It's the title of the last song on the album. Why is that the song that to you feels like it needs to be the title of the record?
Well, I wrote a lot of the lyrics in a short period of time, in a week, where I just had to get away from everything, and I rented this little house down the country for a week, brought a bunch of wine and a microphone and a guitar, and when I was demoing stuff, I was just kind of singing phonetically off the top of my head, and stuff started coming out, and then I'd listen back, and it was speaking in tongues craziness, and I'd listen back, and it's kind of made sense to me, the things that I was singing, and that song, when we wrote it and demoed it, I knew that should be the last song on the record, just because it has this big sort of epic finale sound to it. And I wrote the lyric, and to me, it not only made a beautiful title, but it sort of summed up the album, or the sound of the album, What we do as a band is just sort of big riff, melodic noise,
That's the concrete.
There you go. And then Greg Kurstin, the producer, is this really established, brilliant kind of pop producer.
That's the
and
goal.
there you go. And
Just make sure.
breaking it down.
Just want him to make sure that he knows what.
Got it. Yeah.
Nailed it.
And so, there's both of those elements sort of made them.
Yeah, the final song has, like you're saying, this big, kind of sonic sound. It builds. It has that choir looping in it. And I know you guys mentioned in the earlier interview, that's, when you had the opportunity to run into the guy from Boyz II Men in the studio. So you're working with Greg at a commercial studio, you're saying, you're running into all these people. And that's the song you kind of felt like you needed something, I guess, vocally that you guys can't do in the studio?
Well, the way that we did a lot of the vocal stuff on this album was unlike we'd ever done it before. I would maybe have an idea for a harmony, and then I'd look at Greg, and because Greg, the producer, is sort of this brilliant jazz musician, he wouldn't just hear things in fifths or sevenths or ninths. He would hear this like crazy jazz shit. So he'd sit down at a piano and he'd say, here, sing this line. And he'd play it to me, and then I would sing that. And he goes, okay, wait, do one more. On top of that, sing this line. And he'd give me a high one, and I would sing that. And he's like, oh, wait, there's two more. Sing this thing over here, and sing this thing over here. And
He could see it.
Yeah, like he could shape a fucking 9-part harmony in his head, and I just get lost. I just do what he told me to do. And then you go in and you push up all 30 faders, and you hear, like fucking Bohemian Rhapsody. It's just insane. So, so with Sean from Boyz II Men, that was just by chance that he was there at the studio at the same time we were, and I invited him in to do it. And the tone of his voice and the control that he has was different than anything else, so it really sticks out. And he's amazing.
Yeah, he's the one that's moving around.
Yeah, it's incredible. It has the song has like a Pink Floyd almost vibe
Yeah.
of just like things are going on with that track, and then the song ends, and then it's just like someone's yelling "fuck you, Daryl" at the.
That's Greg.
That's Daryl. Oh, that was Greg.
Yeah.
Oh,
We were trying to do a clap track or something like that,
He blew his headphones
and he
out.
blew his headphones out because, when you're in the control room and you're out here, you have headphones on, and someone's constantly going, okay, take your headphones off because I'm gonna plugging something new in or whatever. Well, I don't think he did that one time, and it literally, we both were wearing and you just throw your headphones off really quick. Just, I'm so sorry. And Greg, fuck you, Daryl. So he
Daryl's
was totally kidding. No.
that guy's living for all time, Daryl.
Yeah.
Now,
Daryl, he's into it.
He's the last song on the record. Fuck you, Daryl.
fuck you, Daryl. That's right at the very end of Concrete
We're gonna
Gold.
start the next album with "Fuck You, Daryl."
Just
Really-
continue.
Daryl.
Sorry, Daryl.
Continue the rant. If someone's listening to Concrete Gold for the first time, what are some songs that maybe you want people to pull out and to, some favorites for you guys off the album?
I love the song "The Sky's a Neighborhood" because of I think sonically that one sounds like the best thing that we've ever recorded. The vocal and the drums and the guitars. And then there's a middle section in there that we have kind of a mini orchestra playing along that it reminds me of Fantasia.
Yeah.
Like, not the
Yeah.
singer, the Disney soundtrack.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I
The
mean?
old cartoon where he's got the
it's
bucket
just
and
so
stuff.
like the first time that Greg played it back for me, we had the basic chord progression, and he said, "Oh, we could do a string thing over that." He goes, "Let me figure out a string thing," and then he kind of demoed it on his keyboard, and I came in and listened to it, and I laughed. I was so fucking excited that we finally did that thing that I'd always wanted to do, where it's dark, it sounds sinister, but it's beautiful, and the song goes from being like this to just like this. I love that song. And then a song like La Di Da, which is just so crunched out and noisy.
That one surprised me. I was like, the
Yeah.
title, I don't know, and hit play, and I was like, that's like maybe one of my favorites on the record.
Yeah.
Dirty Water I liked because I had to go back and, I'm still listening to the same song. Like, I was like, it changed so much in that.
It's basically like another door opens and that
Yeah,
door
yeah.
closes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And later in the record, the songs I feel like kind of are longer. They kind of breathe and do a lot more as that record progresses. But what are some words that maybe you guys would use to describe the sound of the album? If you were to use something like,
I think it's spacey sounding. I think it's our most sort of spacey, psychedelic-y sounding record.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way Dave's vocals were treated, instead of like a tight double, which is usually the way Dave approaches, it's like a lot of vocals sometimes, a lot of background vocals, a lot of oohs and ahs, but also a a lot of verb and echo and stuff on your voice that kind of creates this sort of different sort of spacier, like kind of like psychedelic almost kind of. I mean, it sounds like a silly word to use now, but
Yeah.
I
Song
think we
Concrete
started
Gold
to
has that
realize that the vocal parts could become almost another instrument. So where we would usually thicken layers melodically with a bunch of guitars, we started doing it with these vocal pads of 20, 30 vocals, and now Rami has to do them on fucking keyboards every night. But you know, we realized that the stacking vocals trick would sound good.
it's a different way to make the record big.
Yeah.
How did the previous albums, let's say Sonic Highways, how did that experience influence or filter into Concrete and Gold?
Well, usually every record we make is kind of a response to the last one we've done, or we're just using all the tricks that we learned before, or what not to do. So over 22 years, you kind of start pulling stuff out of the hat that that you think it'll work. But when we were making this record, I was concerned a little bit, like, oh God, what are we going to do live? And Pat and Taylor are huge Queen fanatics. They're huge Queen freaks.
We call it the book. So, in our band, in your band, as long as they did it, it's okay.
Yeah.
So with Dave, there was a couple times where Dave was like, "Well, maybe we can't do this live. Is Rami gonna have to play this on keyboards, or how are we gonna do all this?" And you just do a live version. Like if you watch Queen live in Montreal, which you should because you're Canadian, and it's an amazing concert. And it's they do all these songs that have tons of harmonies live and or on the album, and they break it down to sort of its basic, most important elements, and then give it tons of energy, which is kind of what we've always done anyways. So it's okay that we don't have a string section for the middle of Sky's neighborhood. You know, they do the most important notes that are necessary, and we give it a kick in the ass for the live bit, and it works. So if Queen did it, then it's okay.
Then it's okay. Yeah, the Foo Fighters can do it.
Well,
Sounds awesome.
we'll
Not
try.
like Queen.
Yeah, not like Queen, but like it's like a rule book almost.
Yeah.
If you will, like it's in the book. Me and Pat always say, well, it's in the book.
Well, you know, the last question maybe I'll ask is, and we were talking really super briefly about it, is if there's like, you know, a time you remember in Vancouver, maybe on tour or adventuring around.
Oh, last gig there was, remember that was one of the best ones on tour. That was one of those we were like, this is like Bogota good. Remember that crowd there? Nobody remembers this one?
I think I do because I was there. Yeah, was that in the
Actually,
chair?
you know, I remember once when we played in Vancouver, Bruce Springsteen came to the show. Yeah. And I'm not telling that other story, but
Why are you looking at me?
Well, now it's like I want to hear that story.
That's a Pat story. I'll tell you later. And so, anyway, Bruce Springsteen came to the show when we played there, and his son, the drummer's son.
Yeah, Max's son.
Max's son was a fan of the opening band, and someone said, Bruce is here. I'm like, oh, cool. I said, yeah, but he's kind of just here to see the opening band. I was like, oh, okay. And then we go on and play our show, and then after we're done, it's 2.5 hours, someone says, hey, Bruce wants to come back and say hi. I'm like, oh shit, he stayed. And so he comes in the dressing room, and I asked him at one point, I'm like, well, where did you watch the show from? He's like, just in the crowd. I said, really? And he just like put his hoodie on, stood right in the middle of the audience, watched the whole show. And he was so into it, and he wrote me this letter afterwards that I still have. Yeah. It's in my bedside table thing, on like hotel stationery, where he said, you know, that moment where you're connected with the crowd and you're playing My Hero and they're singing it back to you, like that's what it's all about. And that was such a huge moment for me, you know, just thinking like that Bruce Springsteen actually watched our band and then made that connection so much that, you know, he didn't like hit me up with a tweet or a text or something. He was like, sends off a letter to me.
Writes it on a
That's
hotel
so
station.
cool.
Some analog shit.
But also, it's the first place we played My Hero at the Commodore Ballroom. That's the first time we ever played that,
full
22
circle.
years ago or something like that. Wow. That place is fun. And then, I know it's not Vancouver, but for Victoria Island, one of my favorite bands of all time, a band called No Means No.
Right, yeah.
Was like, I mean, the first time I saw them was 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I think they were one of the best live bands of all time. Amazing drummer. Great band. Great records
Yeah.
too.
Rush of punk.
They were fucking great.